What's up YouTube, HPJ here, and I'm coming to you guys with a second Harpie deck profile for the month, because I'm giving you guys 2 of these a month. I'm trying to give you guys 2 of these a month. I don't want to overflood you guys with too many Harpie deck profiles. But I'm just trying to make sure that it's convenient, and I know the one thing that I haven't really had a chance to look at, no, I did have a chance to look at, but I'm still questioning the methods of how to deal with it, is the Danger Archetype, the TCG exclusives that just came to the game, and still dealing with Cyber Dragons and stuff, because apparently Chimera Tech is not going to be very viable this time around. So it's a lot of things I'm trying to keep together. So I figured, what version of Harpies could I run? And it literally took me at least 4 additional hours to even conspire this deck, and I don't even think I like the final set version now, because it's so many things I have to now take into consideration, so it's very difficult and very time consuming. So I was trying to get little things together, and I had variations of that I wanted to build, but then it was like, I'm leaving out a good key component, and I don't want to leave out a good key component. The component is, still a good thing to run. Oops, I didn't mean to not over yesterday. So you can probably understand there's a lot of things I didn't want to cut in this version, but I ended up cutting in this version because space, and I didn't want to go over 40 cards, so it's really hard to not shrink your deck to keep your deck of bay. But at this point, I'm just changing it back to whatever it was before, just because I like the original version, but I wanted to give you guys something at least more wind anti-meta than it is like turbo, but it has like turbo pieces. It's a deck, I'll just say it like that. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, I'll do it like I always do. Let's go straight into the deck pieces, and then I'll talk about my choices for after. So, for my Harpies, I'm running 3 copies of Harpie Chandler. I'm running only 2 copies of Queen and Dancer. Then, I'm running a full set of Harpie Harpist and Harpie Lady 1. So the next component to the monsters into a good portion of this deck is I'm running as soon as I finish fixing the dancers, I'm running 2 copies of Barrier Statue of the Stormwind, and I'm following up with 1 Harpie's Pet Dragon. So that is my monster lineup. For the spells, I'm running 3 copies of Hysteric Sign. Following that, I'm running 2 copies of Harpie's Hunting Ground. I'm running 1 copy of Elegant Egotist, 1 copy of Divine Wind of the Mist Valley, 1 set rotation, 1 Monster Reborn, and 2 copies of Ties of the Brethren, and 2 copies of Swallow's Nest. For the traps, I'm running 3 copies of Harpie's Featherstorm, 3 copies of Hysteric Party, 2 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance, and 3 in the full Solemn Brigade, 2 Solemn Strikes and 1 Solemn Warning. So that is it for the main deck. For its extra, its extra really didn't change much anyway. It's running 3 copies of Grave Fly, 1 copy of Firefighting the Rumadal, 1 copy of Eco Talker. Then it's running 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Lightning Chidori with 1 Harpie Phantasmal Dragon, 1 Castell, and 1 IC Zero Fine. And then following that up is 1 Cowboy, 1 Red Eyes, 1 Big Eye, 1 Babushka, and 1 Galaxy Tomahawk. Okay, so that is main extra inside, so let's get to it. So I cut my Harpie ratio because I wanted to fit in support for Barrier Statue of the Stormwind. If my fruition is correct, Statue is going to be a lot useful to Harpies because of the fact that this is pretty much one of the biggest things that can keep us from getting hit with a lot of special summons that aren't wind, because most majority of decks are not wind attribute yet. The only thing I probably say we'd have to deal with would be Dragoonity, but that's only to an extension of what they have in their arsenal. this is pretty much probably our best anti-meta monster we could possibly use. Like, I'm not excluding like the original anti-meta cards, like Thunder King, Falsa Dyna, and of course, DCK in them. But the thing about barrier section is you want to be at a point where you can shut your opponent from summoning monsters that they don't necessarily own in their extra deck. And I feel Wind is still probably the most indicated monster in the extra deck, nor in the main deck, unless you run Harpies. Because I don't think the only Trickstars have no Wind monsters. As far as Pendulum goes, I don't even think they even touch Wind unless they're running Vortex Dragon, and that's if they're running Ice material. Then the only other deck would probably be Star Strikers, but their Wind's kind of just one monster. And at that point, she's not really actively doing much. So if you can knock out a large portion of stuff on the field, what can you do? Not to mention, Barrier Section with Stormwind is probably the one thing that most decks can't get over, because you can't hand trap this away because its effects are continuous. Its summon isn't really much of a thing unless you play Warning and Judgment or Strike, but you can't even strike it, I believe, because it's not a continuous, it's not an effect that's being activated, and it's not being special summoned unless it's like through another card effect. So at that point, you pretty much have tons of outs and ins with this card. So that's pretty much why I put it in here for the Harpie setup. Now, I couldn't take out Dragon, and the reason why is because Dragon leaves me plays for my extra deck, especially when I'm going into stuff like, let's say for instance I have this on the board, and I can spam into no, you don't have to actually use this, because if you spam into like a Galaxy Tomahawk using Dragon, you can easily set up your board and really just go off, and your opponent can't really respond to something to a summon unless they normal summon and try to beat over. But then at that point, you have enough stuff to either get this out the way and put another one back on the field, or you have enough things to say your opponent can't get through. And trust me, you're gonna have a lot of stuff to go through it, especially if you side in. If you decide to side in, because you can side in stuff like Real Forces, you can side in more negate stuff. It's just a plethora of things. And then the Harpie Lady lineup, of course, the Harpie ones give the attack power. You have Harpie, so you can search for various statue if you want to just go ahead and get the normal summon out the way. The only reason why I really did reduce Dancer and Queen was because I was trying to fit in so many other cards to help support the barrier statue, to be a supporting cast to Harpie Lady, and then also keep it within the attribute and the type. So it was very difficult at that point. And then, of course, Chandler is your main star for the Harpies, because she can summon any copy of Harpie Lady, any Harpie monster from your deck, or discard a Harpie card from your hand. So that's my whole explanation for monsters. For the spells, it was kind of the same situation. I'll just get it right off the bat. I reduced 2 Hunting Ground, but replaced the Hunting Ground with the Divine Wind. And then the last, I just threw in the set rotation. I could have thrown in Terraforming instead, because then Terraforming would have made up for the 3rd Queen. But then at that point, I would have just run a 3rd Queen. But I wanted the set rotation set up, because then I can force my opponent to have a Hunting Ground, and then I can just easily set the Divine Wind on my field, flip the Divine Wind, and then go from my place to get my, to get my barrier section, because at this point, I think field spells are probably going to be more fruition now that we have, because we know for a fact that Necro Valley will be a thing, because Gravekeepers have their monsters. We know for a fact that, I don't think Cyber Dragon uses field spells. I surely know that Trickstar uses field spells, so you want a way to do a Trickstar. And you also want a card that works well with your deck, even if it's on your opponent's own field. Because I was also thinking, if I wasn't running the barrier statue, I could have just flopped in a Gear Town, and then have Hunting Ground, Gear Town, Divine Wind, set rotation, Terraforming, and then just easily take out a lot of my opponent's stuff. But that would also lead me to have to build a bigger version of this deck. probably more than that. So like 43, 40, no, probably like a 45 card deck, which sounds very risky, but also put it just into my ideas of having segregation terraforming to go get my build spells, and then most of my other field spells can either be set up with the rotation, Queen can search for Hunting Ground, and then I really just have to deal with either Divine Wind on the draw or Gear Town on the draw. So that is for that portion. I'll talk about the Swallow's Nest in Ties of the Brethren. So in case I can't draw one, I have the other as the option. With Swallow's Nest, I can tribute one of my Harpies to put either another Harpie on the board or to put a barrier statue on the board. And because barrier statue deals with summoning, I can easily ditch like a dead Harpist, or ditch a dead Chandler, or put a Harpist in grave and then have Nest come out. Or I can put a Queen on the field, put a Dancer on the field, set up Divine Wind, set up Hunting Ground. With Ties of the Brethren, it's the same thing, but this is kind of what you want to see more early game. This is something you can deal with both late to mid game and have fruition early game. Because with Ties of the Brethren, this is pretty much just a setup card. And in some cases, if it's setting up, you want it to set up properly. Because you don't want to deal with because I think the biggest thing with this is getting the barrier statue or getting a Harpist, or getting a Harpie Late 1 and a barrier statue. Because she'll at least give it the attack to where it can stand on the field at least a little longer. Relatively how long, I don't know, but if you can easily deal with a lot of decks that aren't wind, then you're perfectly fine, unless they start swinging at you. But then you have Swallow's Nest as a good cover as well to get more Harpies on the field. I was thinking of Infernal Reckless Summon to be in this deck, but I couldn't find a room. And then at that point, if I'm locking down my opponent with barrier statue, I don't think it would be smart to lock myself out with Infernal Reckless, because my opponent would have to still have a monster on the field, and at that time, if you lock them down, Inferno really wouldn't help me, because Inferno would only hurt me in prolonging a big summon. So that's why I ended up taking out this. I would rather just run two of each of these instead of the Inferno. And at a point, I was like, well, at one point I wanted to run Summoner Monk. And I was like, well, Monk's going to slow me down a bit more, because the only thing that Monk wouldn't slow me down with is a dead draw into this. Like, let's say I don't want to go for a barrier statue, or I don't have any more barrier statues. I draw this late game, I can just dump this with Summoner Monk. But then the problem would be is Inferno is my monster has to control, my opponent has to control a monster. Then I have to search for monsters of the same level as the monster I'm special summoning, the same name as the monster I'm special summoning. So it really hurt. It really does stretch it thin there. If my graveyard doesn't have Harpie Ladies in it, or the Harpie I summon doesn't have enough attack, because at a point you do also have to realize the attack points. And I was going to swap my Harpie Lady 1, but then I was like, well, I can't use most of my extra deck, because most of my extra deck is going to exclude effect. It's going to have exclusions, of at once for it. So it was just like, I'll just run Ties, I'll run Swallow's Nest, and just be perfectly fine with it. Let's see. Other than that, that's pretty much it for that. I did have to cut. The only spells I really had to cut, I wish I didn't have to cut, but I could because of time, was, of course, not Monster Reborn, Raigeki Dark Hole. And I'm still leaving a nasty taste in my mouth for that. Outside of the spells, the anti-spell fragrance is a Harpie staple. It's a good slowdown to your opponent, especially if they're running heavy spell. And this case is going to be very much needed. I'll probably just dump the barrier statue in here if that's the case, and then just run the pure Harpie build, and then an additional anti-spell fragrance, because I know that's how a large portion of the newer decks are going to try to get over, is with the large amount of spells and traps that they're running. I think this is still fruition going to be, and possibly it's going to still be the meta in terms of Harpie builds, because anti-spell fragrance helps you slow down a lot of speedy players, but the only downside is, of course, it is a trap card, and that can really make or break you, because a lot of floodgate trap cards are either at one because the multiple to just help you get into them faster, or because it's a trap card, it's really easy to get over, and you can easily just pop it and then continue on. So that is the thing with anti-spell. I'm pretty much sure of the main deck. As far as the extra deck goes, there's really not much to it. I think for the most part I've explained everything for his point, but just to get it across, your key piece here is Great Fly for his additional attack power and defensive power that he gives. And then the recovery pieces, in case you do lose your Great Fly or somehow don't have them in check, you can always get them with your barrier set. You can always get Great Fly if Great Fly falls off to go get them back. The Rumadal in the same case, but the Rumadal is more focused on Banish in that sense, and I was questioning to take out the Rumadal and probably put in a second Lightning Chidori because orienting is that to win as its main keepsake, but I wanted to keep the Darumidal because of the fact Darumidal can do a lot more in terms of recovery. If I wanted to go offensive, I have a ton of other support for that. Same thing with Deco Soccer because I don't know, I honestly didn't think Deco Soccer would need much, but in some cases Deco Soccer can easily be summoned and easily support a large portion of things that you don't want targeting your barrier statue. So if you get this first and then put the statue in play, you're pretty much set because this can protect the statue from being targeted by a lot of things. And relatively, you have other targets being pointed to by Decode Talker. The only downside to Decode Talker is one of the issues I have still with this game is that there are monsters who are really good effects, but they really take a lot of material to put onto the board. Not to mention, Decode Talker is dark as opposed to being winged. So yeah, it's one of those contradictory things that sometimes you just have to work around and work into. In terms of everything else, like we already know, I have the full Harpie Lady Go for Chidori, Phantasmal, Castel, Zero Fine, and even added to that addition Tornado Dragon, who's been a really great help in a lot of games. And great, I picked him up, and he did get the reprint. Because Tornado Dragon is amazing. Popping your own stuff, and then on your opponent's turn or during your turn, just pop something that you want to make sure you can get over, especially a set card, because your opponent is being forced to set if you have the anti-spell. So going into this first turn does really help. And then these guys are always good standalones and backups in a lot of cases when I need them. Removal, bouncing through, or just that good push for game. So that is the lineup right there. Because of the time ruling, of course, the Cowboy and the Red Eyes are rocking their fruitions here in the extra deck. And then I'll just remove the Grave Fly to go into the rank 7s, because even though I'm running one pet dragon with the exception of Babuska, because Babuska is just a staple card for rank 4. With the use of dragon, this is part of the reason why I didn't want to get rid of dragon, is because you have access to all of these. In cases I don't have the barrier statue on the field, I still have access to a good portion of monsters, because I don't want the barrier statue to be the only thing that my deck is circled around. And you still want to have all your optimization of plays, like having Big Eye take stuff, Red Eyes helping you with burn damage, and then also being a big beater. Then when you have a 3000 defense body like Tomahawk, you don't have nothing to really worry about, because the only thing you'll probably use Tomahawk for is those tokens, because Wind doesn't have access to a lot of token makers outside of the Phantom Beast. And that's still a lot of room to fit in the Phantom Beast, because certain Phantom Beasts only work by certain conditions, like Synchro Summoning, Tribute Summoning to summon another monster. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I didn't really want to talk too much about this, so want to thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, HDJ signing out, and take care.